Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar, zero patience for slow walkers, those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night, have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
Hey, business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 110,000 bonus miles for a limited time through July 16th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends 7/16/25.
And welcome back to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is myself, Robbie, here again, as always. Snail on the other end of the line out in Seattle. It is the evening of July 3rd, so when you're listening to this, it will be the 4th of July. So hopefully everybody has a safe and fun holiday. But a lot to talk about in this episode. NHL draft, free agency, the Penguins are all over the place. But before we dive into it, Snail, how are things out your way?
Things are great out my way, man. Summer is in full effect. I'm pretty busy, but finding time to have some fun here sprinkled in. That's what summer's all about, right? I mean, when we were kids, summer. I read a thing online one time, and it said that like summer had the best marketing, like because you're in school all year. But like realistically, summer is not the best time of year. Just you get out of school and you're like, we're free for 2.5 months. So the marketing for summer was S tier, as I like to say. But as far as like the time of year, I mean, come on, it's hot and sweaty and miserable, to be totally honest. But it is beautiful out. So there's that. Following the Pittsburgh Penguins in the year 2025 is just a different world. Like, has it kicked in for you really yet at all, Robbie, that like this is where we're at? Like after all of the glorious years that the Penguins have given us, from Shiro to, I mean, you could go back even further, but I'm going more recency bias, from like Shiro to Jim Rutherford. There was like the Sid rookie year, and then there was Malkin joined him, and then there was Stahl, and then they had all the veterans they brought in, and the Iginlas, the Kessels, the back-to-back cups. I mean, all those great eras. And now July 2025, it's a different landscape out there for our beloved Pittsburgh Penguins. And I got hit with that harder than probably anything coming out of, free agent frenzy on July 1 and all that. Is that where you're at too? Like, could you share that sentiment with me? Or are you taking it a little bit better than I am?
I think that we knew what the situation was. I expected them to start rebuilding. I mean, I don't think Kyle Dubas was exactly shy about being open with that. And yeah, I've pretty much locked in. Hey, it's going to be a long season, but it's about the youth movement now. And there's still some stuff that has to be sorted out this summer, which we'll talk about. But I think you saw last Friday night the start of the next chapter. 13 players they drafted. That's
a lot, dude.
That's a lot of yeah. I mean, you can literally, if you wanted to, you could draft 0 if you traded all your picks away. But like 13 is I believe the second most they've had in history. I believe at one point They did have 14 back in the 90s at one point. But back then they also had, I think, like 9 or 10 rounds or something like that as well.
Yeah, they had more rounds.
Yeah, but now, I mean, in 7 rounds, they picked 13 players and 3 in the first round, which the last time we recorded, we thought there was only going to be 2. And it turned into to 3. So, yeah, I mean, the rebuild's in effect. We'll talk about free agency in a while and why I don't hate the path they took in free agency for several reasons. But we're going to start with the draft here. Like I said, 13 picks, starting all the way at 11, where they had been sitting since the lottery. That was their pick. And there was some talk about moving up or down. The first round kind of played out, or the first 10 picks kind of played out roughly what we were thinking. And with that 11th pick, they went a name that surprised a lot of players, or a lot of people that followed it. They went with center Ben Kindle from Snail's WHL fandom was satisfied here. He plays for the Calgary Hitmen. A lot of people didn't really see this name, at least this early. He was a projected later first round draft pick, but kind of following up on getting into it, there was obviously some other names there that people were really hoping for. It didn't happen, but Ben Kindle, he is kind of your best prospect now, especially with other guys kind of getting the call up this season. So Ben Kindle, kind of surprising, but from what I've watched and what I've read from people who understand and know prospects and study prospects more than I do, this is not a pick in the long run people are going to hate.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit blinded by rage. Not really, but I mean, Aitchison was there. Eklund was there. There were some players there. And, you know, it's eye-opening, Robbie. It's been a long time since, you know, following the Penguins where drafting was really, I was paying attention to. And in my mind, I think sometimes, and I think this would benefit some fans out there that might be confused at where the Penguins, the direction they went with this draft. It's not always the next best player, right? Like, you can go the route of just take the best available player. Mm-hmm. But I think the Penguins, Dubas, him and his squad, even back in Toronto, like, they're good at drafting. Like, they've been that's one of Dubas's strong points. This is just a guy that they had on their radar, and he was there. Maybe he wasn't the big name next, like the Aitchison, the Eklund, whatever, but this was a guy that they clearly had circled, and they're like, on our draft list, this is a priority player for us, and he's there for us. Why we're going to take him there. Hadn't heard much about this kid prior. I mean, I like that. I can't be too mad. He's from the Dub, played in Calgary for the Hitmen. Yeah. He's a right shot center, I believe, correct?
Yes, he's a centerman, may end up being a winger, depending on how he develops, but he does score, and he scores a lot. Yes, he is a center with the Hitmen. I don't hate it. You know what's hard to acquire, you know, is centermen. So a lot of teams aren't giving up scoring centermen in the NHL, and if you can pick one, homegrown, draft, develop, all that, I mean, even if he's not, you know, like we were talking about it a little bit, names thrown out to compare. This drives me nuts every year when the draft comes around. Oh, he reminds me of Bobby Orr, and it's like, oh, great comparison there. Yeah, great. Yeah,
but no, he was kind of compared to similar, and they weren't saying right now Braden Point. They were saying they were comparing him to WHL Braden Point, who, great player. I think Braden Point surprised a lot of people with his. How he kind of entered the NHL. He kind of came out of nowhere a little bit for the Lightning, but kind of compared to a Braden Point, not going to be mad at it. Even if he's a, you know, I know what I texted Brian. Brian and I were doing a little back and forth on the draft. I said if he has a Bozak career, if he has a JG Pajot type of career, that's a great pick. I mean, those guys aren't Braden Points, whatever. Like, it's not if he's a Christopher Stieg. Well, you'll take it, right? Those are the comparisons I like to throw out. Would you take a Christopher Stieg? Of course you would.
Yeah, JG Pajot is I wanted the Penguins to trade for Pajot back probably, 5 years ago now when he was kind of on the market before he went to New York.
Oh, yeah.
When he was at his peak, he was a Penguin killer and he was just a good hockey player. Obviously, if he turns into Braden Point, you won. I mean, you won the pick. I mean,
sure.
That's if he turned into NHL Braden Point, a guy who is going to be an Olympian. Absolutely, take that every day of the week. At 11, that's like that's a gold mine at that pick. And I think it was pointed out. I think it was Josh Yohe that said a lot of when people were mad about it, a lot of people have mock draft brain, and they see these guys. The Penguins we've known where they were picking for almost 2 months now. Everybody just kind of had their mind made up that it was going to be some mix of Kashan Aitchison, Roger McQueen, Porter Martone's name was in there. And then Victor Eklund obviously was a guy that everybody kind of had their eyes on for a long time. And when it doesn't fall into that preconceived notion, you're going to react poorly. And listen, these guys get paid to do. They get paid very well for what they're doing. What they're doing. Wes Clark has a long resume of having success in the draft. It's not a fluke at this point. And are all 13 of these guys going to be NHL regulars? No, and that's not how the draft works at all. But you have to start somewhere. The cupboard, as much as it's improved since Dubas got here, it was still pretty barren. And
they were starting from ground zero. Like, there was nothing. There was basically nothing. Sam Poulin was people were still like, when's Sam Poulin going to get a look? It's like, dude, that ship sailed, man. I mean,
you're looking at it like that is the sacrifice you make to win Stanley Cups. And you're going to see teams go through it. I mean, Florida's going to go through it at some point. Tampa Bay is maybe already starting to head in that direction.
If they can't get that Howard, they didn't get that Howard kid signed.
No, they have until I didn't realize they have until August 2026.
Oh,
because he has another year of eligibility in college yet. So
I thought it was this July. I thought it was this summer.
It's next summer, actually.
Damn.
So questions remain there. Yeah, a bunch of holes. Again, that's the cost of winning Stanley Cups, especially over the course of basically 18 years of being at the top of the league with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. And another thing, not every player you draft is going to be Sidney Crosby. We're so used to having the game-breaking talent in Pittsburgh that, you're just waiting for the next guy to emerge, and that's not how it works. They're going to be bad next year. But we'll talk more about the team next year here in a little bit because they were supposed to pick at 12 after taking Kindle. They trade back with the Flyers. I didn't love the move at first because you were passing up on some of those pieces, and you end up the Islanders had a pretty good draft, as much as I hate to say it. They get that first overall pick, and then they get Aitchison and Eklund, kind of what we were hoping the Penguins did. But they trade back, and we talked about size with the Penguins, and they kind of talked about size as well. And Kindle was only 5'10". After that, they just went pure size with a lot of these picks. Not pure size, a lot of good players, but these dudes are big dudes. And it started with Bill Zonin with the 22nd overall pick. He plays with Royan Noranda in the Q. He is a Q player, but another guy that a lot of people like. He's 6'2", and then they went. If you remember Sean Horkoff, who played in the NHL,
Hork.
It's been a while.
1,000+ games.
Yes, they draft his son with the 24th overall pick. They get Will Horkoff. He is from the University of Michigan. I'm assuming he will be back at Michigan this season as well, obviously. But he comes in at 6'5". So this is where the size really started to come for the Penguins. And I just checked real quick. Of the 13 selections they made, 10 of them are over 6 foot. So we talked about size. They get some big size. And Horkoff, they said that he is just a terror to move on the ice. He is a terror to go up against. So good development piece there, and then Bill Zonin, a guy that I'll be honest with you, I had nothing on, did not.
Me neither.
But I watched some tape, read some coverage on him, and I like what they get there as well. Another forward, big body. He can score. He scores, big time scorer in the queue. So again, they walk out of this with 3 first-round picks. All of a sudden, that prospect pool deepens within that first round went on for like roughly 5.
Oh, too long. I was going to joke they're still finishing up the first round right now.
But over the course of 6 hours, the Penguins do a good bit of work on this opening night. And I get that it may not have been flashy. There may not have been trading up to get one of those big centers or a defenseman. But, man, I can't find anything. Again, it's all lottery tickets. I can't find that much to be mad about.
Oh, I mean, one of these guys could be packaged up in a trade at some point. I
mean, 13 guys. Something is going. Again, obviously, nothing immediate is going to happen with any of these players. But at some point, if you want to be competitive again, some of these guys, if they develop correctly, could become a trade chip. Absolutely.
At some point, one of these guys will probably become a trade chip. Yeah. It's just inevitable, but especially with the plethora of picks they had. But I wanted to touch on that, on Horkoff's kid. That for me was my favorite pick of the first round, like for the Penguins. Big dude. Apparently he's just an animal in the gym. Like his combine was off the charts. He's apparently could have gotten into Harvard. He's a smart kid, is I guess what I'm trying to say, and what I've heard. You'll take freak athlete plus smarts and we've learned this too. And I said this, I think I've told this to Brian, or I was talking to somebody on the draft day. No, I was talking to my buddy Kevin. I was like, I think we've learned that if you get a kid that's first round ish, let's say for a first round prospect, and their parents played in the NHL and had successful careers in the NHL, you don't pass those guys up anymore. We learned our lessons with the Kachucks. There's plenty of examples in the league of guys that had parents like DeBrusk, Mason Marchment. Like we've learned our lesson over the years that if they're available and their parents played one of their parents or their dad played in the NHL for quite a while, had successful career, and they're a first round prospect, you take them, because they typically tend to pan out in some manner or another. So Will Horkoff was the steal of the first round for me. I don't know about you. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about the other 2 prospects that were drafted before him in the first round, but pretty excited about that third first round pick that they got.
Yeah, so they walk out of this draft with 3 first round picks. We were expecting 2. But from here on out, I'll go through these guys real quick. Second round pick, 39th overall, they get defenseman Peyton Kettles. Going back to the W here, the dub, they get him from Swift Current. 6'6", 194, massive body. Third round, Pickering's
former D partner.
Yeah, so they're,
couple of twin towers on the back end.
Yeah, 6'6" is just massive, and he's only 18. 6'6" at 18 is...
Those growth plates might still have some room in them.
Imagine him walking around to high school at that size. You probably think that he'd been hooping it up or something like that. But yeah, he gets... And they said he's even young for the draft class, too. So, third round, they get Charlie Theraway, who was born and raised in Pittsburgh, actually. He did move to Maryland when he got a little bit older, but he played on the Penguins... I believe U11, U13, and U15 teams as well. He is a part of the national team development program with the United States. He will be attending Boston College in the fall. He is 6'1", 201, a defenseman, a massive figure there. Then they go goaltender here in the third round here with Gabriel Dallier. He is from Sorel-Tracy, Quebec. He plays in the Q. He is from the same hometown as one Marc-Andre Fleury, who Penguins fans may or may not be familiar with from years past. Third round again, Brady Peddle, another big defenseman, 6'3", 202. Fourth round, Travis Hayes. Now, again, there is a lot of Hayeses in the NHL. He is not related to Kevin, but he is related to Avery, who played in Wilkes-Barre this season and will be pushing for an NHL gig this summer or this offseason into training camp. And if you want to know where he is from, look no further. You knew the pick was coming at some point. He plays in the OHL. He plays in Sault Ste. Marie for the Greyhound. Cal Dubas had to get his Sioux Greyhound player on the board, and he does so in Travis Hayes, already with connections to Pittsburgh. 5th round, Ryan Miller, not the goaltender. He plays not far from where Snell lives. He plays in Portland with the Winterhawks in the dub. He will be going to Denver, the University of Denver, in a few years. Quinn Bouchesne in the 5th round, another defenseman, 6 foot. He plays for the Gulf Storm in the OHL. Jordan Sharon, 5th round. Again, another Sioux Greyhound here in the 5th round. Carter Sanderson in the 6th round. He plays for the Muskegon Lumberjacks at the USHL. He will be going to the University of North Dakota. And we wrap up this in the 7th round with forward Cale Dock. He plays in the British Columbia Hockey League, Sherwood Park. He is committed to Penn State, not this year, but next year. So a lot of guys going to college.
Talk about a flyer on that guy.
Yeah. I mean, seventh round pick. Again, at that point, you're taking flyers. You never know who's going to come through, who could develop. But if you're looking for anything to do this summer, once we hit the dog days in late July, August, you can just go and read up on all these guys and watch tape and make your own thoughts be known, because there's a lot of information to pack in with this draft class. But 13 is a lot of draft picks.
It is, and I mean, like you said earlier, I mean, not all these guys are even going to sniff the NHL. You know, there's a good chance that, yeah, most of these guys
Some might never
even
turn pro.
Some might never turn pro, but I mean, if a couple of these guys end up playing meaningful games in the NHL, that's a win, and that's what, you know, accumulating draft picks, it's just more lottery tickets and better chance of winning. You can't win if you don't play, is what they say, right, Robbie? So, you know, it is what it is. I got to admit, I was a little chapped that maybe there were certain players available that they didn't go after, but I did a little bit more reading and research, and, you know, that Atchison kid, yeah, he's a killer. His highlight tape is pretty impressive, but there was obviously something that the Penguins that they saw that they valued others at, and you got to trust them on this, and you never know. Maybe it looks like the Islanders won the draft this year. We'll see down the road what happens.
I mean, yeah, you can hang the banner for winning the draft of 2025, but it means nothing until they play in the NHL.
True.
Yeah, Atchison could be a pain in the butt to go up again. But Will Horkoff is 6'5", and maybe he's the guy that goes up against Atchison.
Maybe he's someone Atchison says, God dang, why do I have to look at him every third shift? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
you never know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Ben Kindle turns Atchison into a lamppost in 5 years. You don't know. They're all lottery tickets. Some give you better odds than others, obviously. But Wes Clark even said that. Like, he wasn't like the lottery ticket thing isn't something that we say is like a cliche
to make us feel better. No.
Yeah, it's Wes Clark said they're all lottery tickets, and the more you get, the better chance you have of hitting on some. And he's exactly right. And that's where the Penguins are. 13 picks, 13 new players. They're all development camp. I've been following some people around development camp. Today it opened in Pittsburgh and Cranberry. Just to see what some of these guys show. We're not going to have to worry about them at an NHL level for at least 3 years, I'd say, unless somebody just completely takes off. But hey, it gives us something to watch. When the Penguins are bad this year, maybe you find a stream to watch the Calgary Hitmen take on.
Everett Silvertips.
Yeah, the Everett Silvertips, or maybe Snail can do some research for us and head down to wherever the Thunderbird play when the Hitmen are in town. I don't know how much travel these teams do to go check out Ben Kindle. But, I mean, you're going to have something to pay attention to. I understand that prospect watching isn't for everybody, and it's not something I delve too deep into the nitty-gritty of it all. But we have 13 players to now 13 more players to now keep an eye on and gauge interest on. So,
absolutely,
yeah. I don't. Again, drafts are fickle. That's just the nature of them. But the Penguins have entered that rebuild now, and this is where we stand. 13 picks, 13 players, plenty of stuff to watch for this season with them. But that's really all I have on the draft. Snail, do you have any other thoughts or feelings on what the Penguins did, or what any other team in the NHL did?
I watched the entirety of the first round, and I wasn't really too shocked. I will say, actually, there was, and you said you didn't really like the move at first, and I would like to kind of maybe ask why, but there was a reason that I didn't like the move, and that would be with the Penguins trading a pick with the Flyers. What happened to rivalry in Pittsburgh? What happened to the Penguins? Just like, I mean, you're not trying to help make the Flyers even an inch better, and they made a pick. They made a trade, and they ultimately panned out, I think, how Dubas wanted, which is fine. But I mean, what happened to the days of you don't want to give the Flyers anything? You don't want to make them better at all.
So I can't, I always say that the rivalries are better when both teams are good, and I'll be the first to admit the Flyers Penguins rivalry the last basically since COVID has been just blah. I mean, I don't. It doesn't.
Oh, it's not. It's not. When Giroux left, I thought it lost a lot of luster.
I even right now, I feel like it's more of my angst goes toward the Rangers. Just the Rangers are the last team to knock the Penguins out. You had all the stuff with Jacob Trouba. You had all that garbage. Even the Penguins Caps rivalry, I think since the Caps won a cup, has even kind of measured back a bit. It's more now, I have almost a mutual respect for Ovechkin and stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
That again, the Flyers Penguins rivalry is literally 50 years old. They came into the league at the same time. The Flyers had the Penguins number for basically the entire first 20 years of their existence. There's more long term hate there. Most of the Capitals Penguins rivalry is really from 91 to present day, and basically fueled straight because of the playoffs. They never even had Lemieux didn't have a contemporary in Washington. It was just they always played in the playoffs. Now Crosby had that contemporary with Ovechkin, that fueled that, and now it's kind of all right, he got his cup, he broke Gretzky's record, all-time player, greatest goal scorer ever, is going to score 900 goals, whatever. The Flyers one, I just think that they're both at a point now where, okay, in 4 years, yeah, we could be at each other's throats again, but you need that again, the Crosby thing with Philadelphia drove so much of that as well, and always trying to make Giroux his contemporary. Giroux was good, he was never Sidney Crosby. The whole baton thing, that was so manufactured, but I mean, all the stuff they printed. Cindy Crosby, that was Philadelphia. Squidney was Philadelphia. The crybaby stuff was almost all derived directly from Philadelphia. And it helped that he absolutely just battered the Flyers during his career. That is kind of gone now. Crosby has silenced, okay, they might still boo him, but he just goes and scores a goal and records 3 points. Whatever. That's just routine for him. Now that he's kind of on his way out, Giroux's gone. Even Mike Richards and Jeff Carter were a big part of that as well in the early days of that. That's one thing we should do this time. We should just do a rivalry series where I can dive in more, especially as somebody who's been ingrained in this for 35 years now. So I don't want to get too deep into this, but in 3 years, if a guy maybe it's Ben Kindle and Porter Martone that just loathe each other, and let's get something like that. Some kind of pure, maybe it's McGrory.
Someone needs to spark something.
Yeah, maybe when these kids start coming up, maybe it's this year. Maybe Rutger McGrory and Ville Koivunen, something happens with
Michkov. Yeah,
Michkov, and just okay, they're both still bad, but something kind of lights that spark that gets us going again. And when the Flyers made the pick that the Penguins traded them, I didn't know the kid that they picked. And I just saw one of the guys that I follow that is a prospect reporter, and he literally just said that pick makes absolutely no sense for the Flyers. I have no idea what they're doing.
I forget who they picked too, but I remember feeling almost a little bit of like I was just like, that's who they went with.
Yeah, that there because apparently since like Aitchison is a guy.
I thought it was going to be Aitchison.
Like,
I thought that they
Aitchison,
were going for him.
Like Aitchison reeked of a Flyer. Just absolutely reeked.
100%.
Again, I'm disappointed they got Martone because I'm a huge Martone guy. I think he's going to be really good for them. Obviously, they know Michkov. They still have no goaltender, but yeah, like that. Kind of a bizarre pick after the Penguins. So. As for the rivalry, like we just need something to set that spark again. Again, rivalries reset, things happen. But no, I certainly hope that at some point it does get a reset because one thing that would make this next couple years of Penguins hockey like a little more enjoyable is if they was truly somebody to hate, like desperately hate.
Yeah, and that's up to these kids to dig in, and they're Pittsburgh Penguins. It's time. I would like to see. Penguins took a swing on Rutger. His career wasn't etched in stone that he was going to be a Hall of Famer. He didn't like where he was in Winnipeg. The Penguins put their hand up and said, come on down. They made that trade with Braden Yeager. And, I mean, hey, you're in Pittsburgh now. Rutger, a lot of people thought maybe he captained a USA juniors team. This guy could be the leader on this team one day. And it's up to him to rekindle those rivalries. You know what I mean? Like, it's him
Absolutely.
to go make a point to go score a big goal against the Flyers. Make a point to run somebody on the Flyers. It doesn't even need to be some explosive moment in a game. Just play them hard. Because Sidney Crosby gets up for Islanders games, for Flyers games, because he knows it means a lot. He knows it means a lot.
I kind of got chills you saying that, just the thought of this season, Rut McGroarty putting a Flyer through, a partition in a legal way, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And, in Philadelphia, and, somebody goes after him, and then Crosby just stands up for him, and it just kind of...
It boils over.
Just kind of gets that blood. I got chills. Thinking about that, thinking about what
I'm getting juice just thinking about it. And then the next Flyers game, you play the Flyers, 4 times a year? 3-4 times a year?
Yeah, 4 this year, I think.
4 times a year?
Yeah.
Make a statement on the first one.
Absolutely.
And then it becomes much watched. And he becomes a marked man there. Yeah. And they're going after Koivunen. We're going after Michkov. Bring that. It's up to these young guys to have some pride for the sweater they're putting on. Absolutely. and play these rivals hard, because it can't just be and it's up to Sid too in a way to be like, hey, we get up for these games. It means a lot to Pittsburgh to play these guys hard. He could tell Rutger, Koivunen, you guys don't know, you could go back and watch tape of it, but these games are what these games are what gets eyes on our game, and it's up to you guys to really take that on too. You're Penguins now. You play the Flyers hard.
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe they need one of those games against the Flyers to really understand. Now again, having Crosby there will probably help, because Crosby, I mean, the famous quote of I really don't like these guys, and I
love that. Yeah,
it's been a while, but that quote played on repeat for basically ever. I still think down low, the whole entire rivalry doesn't have that hate anymore, but I think Crosby, it still simmers somewhere deep inside of him.
In his loins.
Yeah, he just, he can't, he just does not like the city of Philadelphia.
Well, look at the Flyers brass now, Briere and Jonesy.
That's fair.
You don't think that when the Penguins come to town that they want to get the message through to their young guys that hey, this isn't just, we're not playing Phoenix on a random night in November. This is the Pittsburgh Penguins. We play these guys hard. That's going to be their message too. So this year,
we need a coach fight. We need a good coach fight again.
Oh, Dan Muse
Dan Muse looks like a guy that he's probably pretty chill, but if you really if you hit that spot, poke that right button.
He's from Boston. Of course he has an eject mitts button on him somewhere.
Mike Sullivan had that button that was easily pressed. So yeah, hopefully.
Who's the coach of the Flyers?
Oh my gosh, who is the Flyers coach right now?
Who's the coach of the Flyers?
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Polestar. There's only one true way to experience the all-electric luxury SUV Polestar 3, and that's to take a test drive. It can go from 0 to 60 in as little as 4.8 seconds with the dynamic handling of a sports car. But to truly understand how it commands the road, you need to be behind the wheel. Up to 350 miles of range, the 3D surround sound system by Bowers & Wilkins. It's all something you have to experience to believe. So book your test drive for Polestar 3 today at Polestar.com.
Because it's not Tortorella anymore.
Oh, Rick Tocchet.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Well,
you guys can yell at us in the comments on that one.
That's hilarious.
That was all the guys. Like at one point, I'm like, they hire a young guy like the Penguins did.
That's what I was like. Who was their assistant coach last year?
Yeah.
But no, it was Tocchet. That was one of the bigger offseason signings of the year so far. But Dan Muse is not going to be picking any fights with Rick Tocchet even at this age. But who's to say they can't bark at each other a little bit? I mean,
yeah. I mean, Tocchet is no stranger to the nitty gritty of this rivalry, or just the nitty gritty of hockey in general. So hopefully,
no, it didn't take much to get him to, express some anger and hatred.
The best thing about Tocchet was he could be that guy, that grinder, tough guy, and then go out and score like a hat trick on you
he'll assist on a Mario Lemieux goal and then tap in a couple himself. He was definition. Nowadays, you would call him a unicorn, right?
Yeah, basically. You don't really see guys like that too much anymore. But yeah, so that was the draft. The Penguins, 13 players. Hopefully, we'll talk more rivalry this summer at some point, because that kind of got me a little
excited too, man. We got to do some fun stuff where we can just wax poetic about all the old days.
Well, I'd say after about the next week, unless something big happens, we'll have plenty of downtime to discuss some other topics to take up some time. But before that, a few days after the draft, we went right into free agency mode, and I mentioned it in the opening. We didn't expect the Penguins to do anything flashy, and they didn't. But what they did do, I like a lot of what they did.
Really? Well, this will be fun to get into, because I don't know about you, Robbie, but based on their UFA signings and where they allotted money and the type of players, I was like, we are tanking for Gavin McKenna.
So the first day, July 1st, again, so one thing I'll say about free agency this year is the way that everything played out before free agency. It was a boring free agency period. Your biggest free agent with Nikolai Ehlers, who has now signed as of this recording in Carolina. After that, Mikael Granlund got almost $8 million a year.
Dude, I know. Mikael Granlund, I wouldn't trust that, but that's just me. We saw him in Pittsburgh firsthand.
Insane contract. So on the first day of free agency, July 1st, the Penguins signed the first signing that was announced was Parker Wotherspoon. He is a big defenseman from Boston to a 2-year contract. And again, a guy that's going to eat minutes. He's a solid player. His numbers all look really decent. And the Penguins need to just refix a whole bunch of this stuff. A signing that I think Snail is going to love. And I think that this is going to be like Snail's homie at some point this season. Justin Brazeau, who played for the Wild last year, his measurables, he is 6'6", 227.
He's a refrigerator.
He is a absolute tank on the ice. He is a guy that is going to be a pain to play against. He'll eat your bottom 6 minutes, but he also, like, he can contribute offensively. He is not a
he's not Ryan Reeves out there.
No, he can score. And I really think this is going to be a guy that it's like right around Thanksgiving, and Snail is like putting up a little plaque in his room, Justin, because he meets Snail big, nasty, and can score.
Yeah, he's definitely a little bit different than some of the Penguins' prior, like, big bodies that they'd signed to play in the bottom six. Like, God, who was that centerman that we were shocked is still in the league? I think he played for maybe Carolina or maybe Carolina it was. He was like a 6'4" centerman, but he was softer than you-know-what. He's not a Ryan Graves type. I know he's a defenseman, but this guy can throw his body around, which I actually like. And I was thinking about it when they signed him. I'm like, man, you know who else is big is Kevin Hayes with a scoring touch. Fourth line might look good with 3 just cement trucks on the back end with, got Kevin Hayes, who you're not asking him to hit. He's maybe a fourth line player with first line hands. Throw Brazeau on his wing. And yeah, I mean, I like this signing a lot. I'm glad that, and he could get traded at the deadline for like a 3rd round pick. You never know, but I like to see the insulation. We have the top 6 players right now. It's the bottom 6 chemistry and all that you need to address. And
yeah, and we talked last year, like, obviously, again, we'll talk trades and stuff in a moment, but like the Penguins' first line last year was one of the best first lines in hockey. Like, that was fine. The second line, Malkin is still going to give you 55, 60 points if he's healthy. Tommy Novak's kind of a wild card because we didn't really see him too much. Phil Tomasino is now coming back as well. But another guy they signed was Connor Dewar. Dewar, whatever, however you pronounce that last name. And that was one that I like that signing because I thought he came to Pittsburgh. He brought in the deadline. They basically said, prove yourself. He was a good player. Like, he scored. He was a good player for the Penguins in that final 6 weeks of the season. And
I coined him Connor McDewar.
Yeah, you did name him Connor McDewar.
He scored 1 goal all season. He came to the Penguins and scored like back-to-back games or back-to-back games or something crazy like that.
Yeah, something crazy, yeah. But again, a guy I like throwing that bottom 6. Blake Lizotte is still there. They just got, again, find a way to get Noel Acciari out of Pittsburgh. Matt Nieto is obviously out of the picture. But Kevin Hayes, we know what Kevin Hayes can do. Like, he goes out there and scores 15 goals for you. As long as he's not in the doghouse like he was at the beginning of the last season. But that kind of jump-started his season, though, as well. So I think, like, filling out these positions, I think definitely helps the Penguins not be completely dreadful. Maybe they will be. I don't know. Because on July 2nd, the name that I was wondering if the Penguins would look at as a 2025-26 Anthony Beauvillier is Anthony Mantha. A guy that I wanted the Penguins to go after back before COVID because I thought he could have been a major part of another cup run. He comes to Pittsburgh. He is on a 1-year contract. He was hurt most of last season. But if he can stay healthy, the last healthy season he had, the numbers are still good. And obviously health is a big thing there. But he completely projects as this year's Anthony Beauvillier, plays 60-some games, scores, give me 15, 20 goals, and gets traded to the deadline for a second or first round pick, depending on what the market is at that time. So yeah, Mantha's a name that I wondered when I saw him as a free agent if they'd go after, and they did.
Well, he had a really great start to the year last year. I remember Calgary. The team had a good start out there, and he was a part of their success. And if this was 2019, 2020 that we're getting this guy to be Malkin's winger, I'd be super ecstatic. But I think even just for an interesting piece this year, that he probably will complement Malkin pretty well. Big body, doesn't play like he's not like doesn't play like a TJ Oshie or like a what have you, like a Tom Wilson, but he does have a scoring touch. He's not going to run you through the boards, but he plays more of a skill game, and he's a little bit of everything, a little bit of blue collar ruggedness in him a little bit, and he's got a little bit of that, finesse scoring touch.
Yeah.
Again, if this was 2019-20, I'd be really happy, but it's a prove it year for him. He was hurt. He had a significant injury. I believe it was ACL, was it not? Was it MCL, ACL, something like that? I think it was a knee injury.
It was a knee injury because he did not play after November 5th. That was his last game. In 13 games last year, he had 4 goals and 3 assists. So, I mean, he had 7 points in 13 games.
Not bad.
Not bad. Again, he just, last year obviously sucked. I mean, he was, when you go down to a knee injury like that, it takes out your entire season. And he gets a chance now to come to Pittsburgh and prove himself. He'll be 30. He'll only be 31 when the season starts. His birthday's in September.
Yeah,
so
this reeks. If he has a good year, this reeks of a maybe second round pick at the deadline type of deal.
Yeah, and like maybe he gets a 2 or 3 year contract next summer if he goes out and proves himself this year. That's entirely plausible as well, that he could go out and prove himself, and that's great.
Two things with him. Oh, sorry, keep going.
I think he's a guy like. He can fill in a veteran leadership role too. I mean, he's been in the league 11 years now. He can work with some of these guys, Koivunen, McGroarty, any other youngins that come up either before the season or during the season. A guy that can definitely give you more on the ice and off the ice than a lot of other guys around the market. So this is a name. When I saw him out there, I kind of wondered if they would poke around there, and then on the second day of free agency, they go and get him. And that was kind of the one, like, that is for the money they got him for on a 1-year contract. That's the kind of deal you want to make if you're in the Penguin situation right now.
Totally. He's a great veteran to bring in, take a flyer on him. Because there's no guarantees with that knee injury. Like, you remember it took Malkin a while to get up and running again?
It's so hard. Like there's guys that you can play because the way you move in hockey, like, you can do stuff with a torn ACL or MCL. But when you go under the knife, it's so tough. And, like, I'm blessed that I never had anything major like that. But I've known people that have gone under ACL reconstruction. And it just takes time. Like, even if you practice and work out, until you're at the real thing, it's just it's so different till you get your legs back under you. So, yeah, maybe it takes him 2 or 3 weeks to get back. But if he's healthy, and a knee is something, it may take time to come back from, but it's something you can absolutely get back from. Like Malkin came back twice and was successful with following knee reconstruction. But it's not a hip, so hopefully that Mantha, we can get a healthy Anthony Mantha for the beginning of the season, and he can get back to what he was so successful at that made him such a coveted asset for a lot of years. I mean, he's only 2 seasons removed from 44 points in 74 games. Like, he's not that far removed from having successful scoring seasons. So fingers crossed we can see some of that success back in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, look, if he could even play a role similar to Eric Fair, he could be like a Malkin's winger.
That's a good comp.
Yeah, he could. Maybe he's an Eric Fair. And the other thing that I want to look out for is he's one of the few all-white stick users in the league.
Is he using all-white stick?
Pretty much, it has like a little accent on it, but everywhere he's played, he's got the white blade. I think it's like him, Miles Wood, and, well, Pavelski's out of the league now. Pavelski was the other one that used a white stick. It's a rare thing, but he's one of the few all-white stick users, so I'll see if he brings that over to Pittsburgh. I think he's a Warrior user, so it'll be interesting to see if that continues with the squad over in Pittsburgh this year.
I'm taking it you're an all-white stick fan?
I like it because it's just different. I used to love Pavelski, watching Pavelski, his tipping and all that. And
do you think he used the white stick do you think that helped with his...
I think he literally said that. He used it as a way to... It helps him with his, like, just tracking the puck to his stick, I think, or something like that. I think there's a video out there that I watched a while ago on it, but Miles Wood, I mean, he's a great player. I don't know what he kind of flashy for a fourth line type player. Anthony Mantha, I think he's just done it since he was young. So
even his tapes, he even uses white tape.
Yeah, all white, everything.
A lot of guys don't even use white tape anymore because they say that using black tape just helps distinguish it from the ice surface.
Yes.
And I remember, not to get off topic again, but back this is early in Marc-Andre Fleury's career, he had them bright yellow pads, and he got injured, and he came back with all white pads, and they basically said it's the yellow pads gave shooters something to target, knowing that was the net, and he went all white. He went all white to match with the ice and the netting, so shooters wouldn't be able to recognize quite as easily. So just something to.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't realize. Yeah, Mantha. He does all his pictures. He has this is going back pretty much early in his career as well. Like he always had the all white blade. Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't see why it would stop, but like you never know. Maybe he's like, my career isn't what I've wanted it to be. My knee's been blown out. Maybe it's time to go with take the Sid route and use this black stick, black tape, and the white handle. But I don't know. These players are so entrenched in their habits.
It's crazy. Yeah. Again, we could do whole episodes on weird superstitions that these players have, but yeah, that's it's crazy. But the Penguins also signed Alexander Alexiev, a defenseman, to a 1-year contract. He was with Washington last year, a former first-round draft pick, I believe. Just did not pan out, so another flyer there. But one thing that did happen was one trade they did make. They traded Alex Nedeljkovic in the final year of his contract to San Jose for a third-round pick in 2028. But the Penguins still loading the closet with draft picks, or the cupboard with draft picks. And Nedeljkovic, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised because it basically just kind of reaffirms the fact that Joel Blomqvist, at the very least, will be in the NHL to start next season. I think it's good work getting a early, or at least first half of the draft pick. Whether or not they use that pick in 3 years from now, who knows? But they got value for a backup goaltender going to San Jose, basically. And good for Ned. I hope Ned, he's on an up-and-coming team out there, a team that's looking to win more games than they have in the past. He'll be surrounded by a lot of talent. At least Max Celebrini, Will Smith, a lot of talent coming into San Jose right now. So yeah, I'm happy for Ned. I hope he does well. He's a good, he never complained about anything. He almost nearly dragging that team to the playoffs in 2024 was something that I'll probably always remember. Even though that season ended without a playoff berth, his heroics playing the last 12 games or something like that, and being so clearly gassed that he just had nothing left in the tank.
Kid's got a lot of heart. You can tell that's one of his assets as a player. He's got a lot of heart.
A journeyman goaltender, literally, he had that one great year in Carolina, cashed in big on it, struggled after that, but he came to Pittsburgh and had success. He was nothing but a pro these last 2 years, and I hope nothing but success for him going forward.
And let's just be honest. I mean, I can say honestly, it was a good night when Ned was in the net. I was like, oh, thank God Ned's in there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, again, there were games where you're just like, oh man, that's not great. But man, there's sometimes you're just like, you know what? A guy that I know that even if it's not going well is going to play 110%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Again, was it? Yeah, his blow up last year was kind of I don't want to call it a turning point, but it was a bit of a wake up call when he got pulled in that one game
and he lost his shit, and he was wasn't he glaring at Sullivan too? It
was a very, very weird moment, but the Penguins came back and won that game then. So yeah, I'm happy for Ned.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I hope he finds some success out in California, or not?
He's gonna play. Their starting goaltender is no lock to be a. He hasn't proven anything in the league yet. I know he was a highly touted guy at one point, but I mean, Ned's going to play some games out there, and you know what that team can use. If I don't know, they're hoping to be better this year. You know, San Jose is, but a team that's going to be, probably losing a lot of games. Ned, not that Ned's good for that, but he's a great character in a locker room, and I just think
absolutely
him and the Toffoli out there, and they've collected a lot of pieces that are just going to be great players for these young studs to have around, even though they're losing. I mean, their flights and off days are going to be better with a guy like Ned on the team.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he was an absolute hoot to be around. I'm sure that he was, a great locker room guy, and he's going to do great things for those young guys out in San Jose. So yeah,
he's going to always be etched in the Penguins history books too. With that, remember that game he had a goal and an assist.
That's right. Yes, he is one of. So back. Yes, he does have the goalie goal from last season. He was a fight short of a Gordie Howe hat trick.
He needed it.
Was that Buffalo? That was Buffalo.
I think it was.
Yeah, because Buffalo was wearing those throwback uniforms. Jari's was against Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's now on Joel Blomqvist to get his goal this season to keep the Penguins streak alive.
Goal of season.
So best of luck to Ned out in San Jose. Hope he finds success. Hope that team's going to be really easy to root for. And fun to watch. So yeah, if you're like Snail after the Penguins play, if you're into late night hockey out here on the East Coast, make sure you tune into the Sharks. They'll be definitely fun to watch this season.
Them and the Ducks, man. Those California rivalries might be back sooner than we thought.
LA paid Cody Ceci a insane amount of money to play defense. So yeah, LA games are going to be fun too. LA games might be 6-5 every night. That's another thing. Yeah, California hockey is coming back. It is on the upswing out there. So yeah, if you're into late night hockey here on the East Coast, flick on ESPN and check out some of those West Coast teams because they're going to be some exciting hockey.
Well, when the Penguins go out west, they're going to be exciting games because you don't know what you're going to get from these up and coming teams like the Ducks and the Sharks, and then the LA Kings seem like they've been on a slow rise to getting better and better. And dude, what is Ken Holland thinking out there? Are they going tank for McKenna all of a sudden too?
No, I actually sadly do believe they are trying to win.
You thought, you're actually like you're like, I think Ken Holland thought he made the team better.
I genuinely believe that Ken Holland thinks he improved that hockey team. Like that was the goal, and like that is what happened. Absolutely.
I think they just took on some bad contracts and brought a lot of old guys in. And my buddy is one of my best pals is a diehard Kings fan, and he basically saw that first couple days of free agency thing, and he sent me a list of the guys they signed, and he was just like, I was like, if the Oilers just ruining my spring hockey every year is bad enough, now with my off season has been ruined. Tough for Kings fans out there, but we could get back on track with the Penguin signings because there was a couple more, were there not?
Yeah, a couple other minor ones here. Caleb Jones, who's a defenseman that'll fight for a spot.
Former King, yeah.
Along with Manta, they also brought in Raphael Harvey-Pinard and Phil Kemp, two guys that I'm sure will either be in the AHL or fighting for a roster spot in the NHL. I think the biggest thing waiting now with either's off the market is where are they going to what trades are going to be popping up now? Because with Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand being signed by Florida before the free agency ever opened, Aaron Ekblad being off the market as well, all eyes will now shift to getting players through trades. And the big names, obviously, Rickard Rakell, Brian Rust, and Erik Karlsson. So that is kind of where I'm going to be focusing most of my attention at this point to see what moves Dubas makes via trade, because there was noise surrounding Brian Rust prior to the draft. Never happened. Rickard Rakell we've been talking about for basically 6 months now.
Oh, and don't forget the Sid allegations that he was getting traded too.
That made the draft almost unwatchable at some points.
Every outlet was going,
George LaRock randomly tweeting out that, like, I heard that Sidney Crosby could be playing somewhere else. I don't even know what prompt. And then Kevin Weeks doing what Kevin Weeks does. Brian Hayes not being the worst person right now is pretty shocking.
Those Spit and Chicklets guys are getting pretty high up on that list of most annoying when it comes to the Sid trade stuff. Their Chicklets account was posting a couple of things.
You can't tell me that neither of them don't have Crosby's number that can just text him and be like, hey, is this true? And then reporting back.
Sorry. Yeah, no, you would think, but that's what they've become, jesters of the NHL media community. Like, I think that they do have some sources sometimes that do come through and are right, but the Sid thing gets old quick. The Rust thing had me a little nervous. I was like, man, are we really saying goodbye to Brian Rust? But you got to think, if you're looking outside the scope of just a Penguins diehard fan, like, man, there are a lot of teams that could use a player like Brian Rust right now, whether you're trying to get over the hump and get into the playoffs, or you're in the playoffs looking to get over, the next hurdle, maybe win a round or two rounds. We talked last night a little bit, or was it yesterday or the day before? And I asked who's going first, Raquel or Rust? And you said potential. I think you said like hopefully Raquel.
I think I said probably Raquel.
Raquel.
I think the cost to move Rust is a little bit steeper because of what he means to the Penguins, but also because I think Raquel, like, not necessarily, like, nothing against Brian Rust, Raquel has a bit better reputation throughout the NHL as a goal scorer,
right,
and point producer, as more of a skilled forward, like a guy that you think of as a winger. That I think that he would maybe be a little more valued to go first over Brian Rust. That was my thought process on it. Could very well be wrong, but I just think that the thought process, maybe he's valued a little bit more, and he would be the first to be moved. That's who more teams would be calling on.
Yeah, I think for teams out there that are looking to improve their roster and maybe get into the playoffs or more safely secure the playoffs, Raquel is probably that guy for them. Just a smidge younger. Yeah, known for being a goal scorer. But there are some teams out there, you'd think like a team like Edmonton or the Dallas Stars or teams like that, they're looking at, we can get to the playoffs every year, no problem, but it's getting through those rounds. We need a guy like, Brad Marchand's performance was unreal this year in the playoffs and in the Stanley Cup final. Shades of Brian Rust, honestly, like those goals that he scored, like very similar, just like crafty, gets to the inside and tucks it just gently under the bar or goes 5-hole, and in big moments. And I'm like, man, if you're a team that looks, if you're looking for that type of boost to your team, maybe at a trade deadline, those maybe more solidified playoff teams would probably be valuing Brian Rust over Rickard Raquel, because he has that proven like clutch gene when it really matters.
Would agree with that. With that as well. So yeah, we'll see how these trades play out. We're entering the holiday weekend, so I don't know exactly. Again, not a holiday for Kyle Dubas because he's Canadian, but you never know. I'm sure.
Yeah, he's in Pittsburgh now, man. You gotta.
Yeah, you don't know how American he is now. I mean, unless he heads up to Sault Ste.
Muskoka.
Marie for a holiday. But that's all I really got. I mean, that covers the draft, some early free agency stuff. Snail, do you have anything that you want to touch on?
Yeah, I don't know why I was fixated with this during this whole free agent talk, but Matt Grzelcyk is a free agent, right?
Yeah,
he was a 1 year.
I do not believe he signed anywhere yet. Yes.
He's only 31. He had let me look up his stats from last year. I mean, last year he had, oh my God, he only had one goal.
He had one goal, but he had like 45 assists.
He had 39 assists for 40 points. He was a -6. I was wondering, he's undersized, and I know that's been his biggest knock, but the dude gets points. Like,
honestly, the fact that he was only -6 is pretty shocking.
Actually, last year was like, he had a career year last year. He had every year before that was, he's got some, teens, mid-20s, but then, he popped off for 40. You got to wonder if a team's going to come calling looking for his services.
Yeah, absolutely. Would agree with that. Grzelcyk's an interesting one. A guy that I thought was going to be traded at the deadline last year, just simply because he did put up so many power play points, but not to be the case, I guess. So.
Boris Kachuk is gone.
Oh, that's right. I was going to say R.I.P. to our boy Boris. Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah, I think the team that drafted him. Oh no, he was drafted by Chicago, I think.
Yeah, so our friend Big Bo, big year down in the A with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins.
Elite goal scorer in the
Elite
AHL.
Goal scorer. Hopefully he gets a shot in the NHL. That would be great to see him, see if he can do anything at the top level. But yeah, our friend Big Bo Kachuk is no longer in the Penguins organization, moving on to Tampa Bay. But that was a fun year, kind of playing that little.
Oh yeah, he lightened the mood some days because we could go through those AHL stats and be like, Boris scored again.
Yes, he scored what I think like 4 goals in like the first game of the year, and then he didn't score for like a month, and then he finally like found a nice like even balance of being like just a productive player for the Baby Pen. So yeah, good luck to Big Bo in Tampa Bay, and we'll find another pet minor leaguer to dote on this season when he ends up scoring like 8 goals in the first like 3 games or something like that.
He goes Austin Matthews in his first game.
Yes. So, but
that's all I really got. I think we hit the major points and got most of that across. And if we didn't, let us know and we'll bring it up and chat about it. But we'll see what happens if this could be the end of business maybe for the summer, but you'd think that there's going to be some things trickling through eventually.
There's always like that 1 or 2 things that happen in like late July, August that like, it's just a random signing, either the depth signing or something with the AHL. But yeah, there's definitely some trade pieces that could pan out. But if not, we'll shift into mailbags, and we have some other topics we want to discuss. Maybe bring back the in Kyle Dubas shoes,
Mile and Kyle's shoes
segment that Snell came up with a few years ago. So we'll see about all that. We have some other ideas we're tossing around. So Snell, if you have nothing else, I have nothing else. If you're an American, please enjoy the 4th of July, the Independence Day, when you're listening to this on Friday. Throw this on the radio while you're having some Franks and
burgers and
some brats, burgers, beers, however you celebrate, but celebrate safely. Don't put your hand near any fireworks.
Every year, man, it happens I heard my buddy has a friend who works in a hospital, and there's literally, it's not even a joke anymore. They're like, every year someone, like, people come in with their digits blown off.
Yep.
Well, quickly, we should just get into quickly before we sign off. I know we're going on a little long here, but what do you do for the 4th of July? Do you drink beers? Do you grill? Like, do you watch are fireworks allowed in your community?
Fireworks are allowed in our community. There's a couple different businesses in the area that will do fireworks, either like the 4th or that weekend. But as for tomorrow, the actual 4th, probably just going to hang out by the pool, have some burgers, just a chill day. I have nothing really else to do. Saturday, we have an annual pig roast that we get invited to. As a
pig
family.
Roast, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Big event that we go to. That's on Saturday. And then I believe we're doing my grandma's birthday this weekend as well. So we're doing something for that on Sunday. So pretty booked. But it's all fun stuff, no work, no nothing to really be an annoyance. It's more just to have some fun, eat some good food, maybe drink some beers, and it's supposed to be really beautiful weather. No low humidity, sunshine, no rain, thank goodness, and hopefully that holds up because we could definitely use some of that beautiful sunshine.
Nice, man. That sounds like a good one. That sounds like a good 4th. Yeah, out here, Seattle's gotten so soft. I remember when I was a kid, my street, it wasn't like my street. I live up on a hill, and like there would be just like kids and teenagers, adults in lawn chairs hammered on the road. No, you couldn't drive on our streets growing up, like on 4th of July. It was just a war zone of kids riding bikes and skateboards around, blowing stuff up. What do you call it? Like sparklers, all snakes, all that kind of stuff. Big explosions going off. Seattle, I heard, is shifting to a drone fireworks show, as opposed to actual fireworks. I mean, my little town of Kenmore is down on the docks on the lake. They have a real fireworks show, but we're not allowed to light fireworks off ourselves in our yard anymore. So that's kind of a bummer for me.
Is that because of fire stuff?
No, it's just people like, I don't know. It's a bunch of just crotchety, snobby people that are like, don't disturb my dog. And I don't like
kind of stuff, yeah.
For me, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I growing up and having pets and seeing their reaction, sometimes I am like, yeah, this does suck for them one night a year. But give them a trazodone and a little end of a bratwurst or something, and they'll go to sleep. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we've gotten a little soft in our neck of the woods when it comes to celebrating. I only can assume that out east where you guys are, where our country was founded and, you know, our founding fathers were literally from, you guys take 4th of July a little bit more seriously. Out here, yeah, it's not the same vibe, but I got the grill out. I'm going to be barbecuing. I'm going to be drinking beer. I'm going to watch the hot dog eating contest tomorrow morning out here. I think it starts at 11 Eastern time.
Yeah, so early. I think it's 11. Like, yeah, it's in that ballpark. So
but they have the lemonade chug, and then they've got the hot dog eating contest. Joey Chestnut is back this year. His 1-year sponsorship from Impossible or Beyond or whatever is up, and he is back in Nathan's hot dog eating contest. So I'll be watching that and getting an early start to my day. You ever tune into that?
Yeah, I have watched it. It is, I mean, it's pretty fascinating, like, that somebody can eat food that much food that fast. Like, I don't know how, it does not look appetizing to me, but...
Oh, it's nauseating.
Yeah, but if you can do it, man, hey, more power to you. Go out and have some fun, because that is just a lot of food.
Do they throw up those hot dogs?
I don't know, dude. I mean, you can't there, or you lose, so, I don't know what happens. You have to keep it down for a certain amount of time, I think. But, dude, credit to you.
Could July 5th be the worst day of the year for Joey Chestnut after a cup of coffee?
Could you imagine how bad you'd have to feel? Man,
just the sodium and nitrates and all those wet hot dog buns?
I would just be sweating.
Yeah.
I would just be constantly sweating for, 24 hours and just smelling like hot dog water.
Yeah, you would literally just smell like a hot dog packet.
Oh man, that don't even just thinking about that.
It's bad, but it is entertaining, and that's what they do it for, entertainment. So I'm here for it.
It'll be. I believe ESPN shows it. I could be.
They
wrong
do.
With that.
I think it's on ESPN, and
it's a real sporting event. It's on ESPN. So
now that's American. That's America.
It's very American. It is a very American event. So, but no. To everybody out there listening, enjoy your 4th. Be safe. We'll come to you guys again next week. If we put a mailbag out, maybe, depending on what the Penguins do. Take some of your questions. If not, we'll come up with something. But for Snail, I'm Robbie. Have a good weekend, everyone. We'll talk to you here very soon.